Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real tonight. Sometimes a man finds himself loving a woman without even understanding how it happened or why it's so deep. He didn't plan it. He didn't calculate it. He didn't sit down and say, this is the one. It just showed up. One day he was fine, focused, in control, and the next day his peace started depending on her smile. That's how you know it's real. When a man loves you without understanding himself, it's because his heart moved faster than his mind ever could. Sometimes love doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It doesn't come with signs that say, "Jet ready, this is going to change everything." No, love is subtle. It starts quietly in places you don't expect. A glance that lingers a little too long, a laugh that makes your chest feel lighter, a conversation that stretches past the ordinary. It all begins beneath the surface. And for a man, this kind of love is even trickier because men are taught to control, to understand, to plan. Yet love ignores all of that. It seeps in without permission, bypassing logic and reason, and suddenly he finds himself in a world he never prepared for. He doesn't understand why he cares so much about someone else's day, why their happiness or sadness affects him deeply, why their absence feels heavier than he expected. His mind might protest, saying, "This doesn't make sense," but his heart is already committed, already beating in a rhythm that revolves around her. This subconscious beginning is what makes it so powerful, because by the time he recognizes it, it's already rooted. It manifests in small, almost invisible ways at first. He notices the way she tilts her head when she's thinking. He remembers little details she casually mentions. He starts imagining her in moments he never used to, laughing in his favorite spot, crying when life hits hard, celebrating little victories. And all of this happens before he can even put a name to it. He doesn't sit down and analyze it. He doesn't announce, "I am in love." No, he just finds himself drawn in inexplicably and irresistibly. What's fascinating is that this kind of love challenges the man's understanding of himself. He has always seen himself as rational, practical, someone in control of his emotions, yet suddenly he's acting in ways that defy that self-image. He might send messages he overthinks but can't resist, or go out of his way to help in ways that don't serve any practical purpose. He might feel protective without consciously deciding to. All of these actions are guided by a subconscious current of emotion that he cannot fully explain. And therein lies the beauty of it. Love that starts subconsciously is pure because it's not influenced by strategy, ego, or fear. It's instinctive, raw, and honest. He loves before he calculates, before he rationalizes, before the world tells him how he should feel or act. It's a love that refuses to wait for understanding, that demands attention by simply existing in the quiet corners of his heart. It's messy, confusing, and vulnerable, yet it is also the most genuine form of love a man can experience. And when he finally becomes aware of it, when his mind catches up with what his heart has already known, that is when the depth and intensity of his feelings truly become undeniable, and nothing else will ever feel the same. When a man loves without fully understanding it himself, the first signs are rarely in what he says, Words can lag behind feelings. A man might struggle to explain what he's experiencing because his mind hasn't caught up with his heart. But actions don't lie. You'll see them before you hear them. He starts doing things he never imagined he would. Small gestures that speak louder than anything he could put into sentences. He'll go out of his way to make your day easier. Remember things you said in passing or show concern for details he previously ignored. These actions are instinctive, coming straight from a place deeper than thought. He doesn't do them to impress, to gain favor, or even to get attention. He does them simply because his heart has already made the choice to care, and his body and mind follow in a way he hasn't yet fully processed. This is where it becomes fascinating. You'll notice that he begins to adjust his life around you without consciously deciding to. He rearranges plans or sacrifices small comforts just to be present for you. He listens, really listens, even to the things that seem unimportant because subconsciously they matter to him. And sometimes he won't even explain why he did something. He just did it because just love showed up before his understanding did. His mind might try to rationalize it later, but at first, it's pure instinct. It's like watching a man follow a path his heart has laid down before his brain has mapped it out. Another sign is protection and concern. Even when he can't put it into words, he instinctively wants to keep you safe, to make sure you're okay. He notices when you're tired, stressed, or uncomfortable, and he reacts without asking for approval or recognition. He might offer help when you didn't even ask for it, or step in quietly to prevent you from struggling unnecessarily. These acts aren't calculated, they're automatic. They flow from love that exists on a level deeper than conscious thought. And then there are the subtle shifts in how he engages with the world. A man in this place may start valuing the same things you do, appreciating the same little joys, or considering perspectives he ignored before. His actions reflect a slow realignment, not because he is forcing himself to change, but because his love has shifted his focus in ways he doesn't fully understand yet. He's living the love before he can articulate it. The beauty of these actions is that they are unmistakable. Words can mislead, promises can be empty, and explanations can be confusing. But when a man's actions change, when he consistently puts effort, attention, and care into the things that matter to you, it's proof that love has already taken root. His heart has acted first, and his behavior has followed, showing a depth and sincerity that words alone could never capture. Love in motion is always louder than love in talk, and when he loves you without understanding it himself, his actions tell the story long before his mouth catches up. When a man loves a woman without fully understanding it himself, confusion becomes his constant companion. It's not because he's weak or incapable. It's because love has taken over in a way that logic cannot contain. For men who are often taught to have control, to plan, to measure, and to anticipate, surrendering to emotion feels foreign. And yet, that confusion is actually proof that he has surrendered. When he can't figure out why he feels so deeply, when he asks himself questions he can't answer, why he thinks about her at odd hours, why her happiness feels like his responsibility, why he feels protective without knowing why. That's love working its magic in a way that bypasses reason. Confusion in this sense is not a flaw. It is evidence that his heart has stepped in front of his mind and refused to wait. You see, a man who is confused by his feelings is not a man who is careless or shallow. He is a man whose emotions have outpaced his understanding. He wakes up thinking about her, even when he swore he wouldn't. He notices every detail about her that most people overlook, the way she laughs, the little quirks she doesn't even realize she has. He wonders why these things matter so much, and in that wondering, he experiences the vulnerability of surrender. There's a beauty in that vulnerability because it strips away the pride, the ego, and the certainty he has carried for so long. Confusion becomes the gateway to authenticity. He doesn't fully understand, but he feels, and feeling is the beginning of true love. This confusion also affects the way he behaves. He may act impulsively, say things he didn't mean, or hesitate when he should be decisive. These moments are not signs of weakness. They are signs that his heart has entered territories his mind has not mapped. He might struggle with jealousy or fear, not because he doubts her, but because the depth of his feelings has revealed just how much he cares. Every thought about her, every pang of longing, every moment of worry is a reflection of surrender. He is no longer controlling the narrative. The narrative is being written by love itself, and he is merely following along. The irony is that this confusion, while uncomfortable, is also incredibly honest. It exposes a man in ways that pride never could. It makes him approachable, teachable, and real. He doesn't have all the answers, but his heart is completely in. Confusion is not a problem to be fixed. It is a signal that he has allowed himself to be fully present with his feeling. That space. There is no pretense, no strategy, no manipulation. There is just a man who loves so deeply that even he doesn't understand the magnitude of it. And ultimately, this confusion is temporary. As time passes, as he reflects, and as he experiences the consistency of his own actions, understanding begins to catch up with feeling. What was once bewildering becomes clear. He realizes that every moment of doubt, every pang of uncertainty, every question he asked himself was simply love making room to grow, shaping him into someone willing to commit fully even before he consciously decided to. When a man loves a woman without fully understanding his own feelings, one of the first things you'll notice is how protective he becomes. And here's the interesting part. He doesn't even realize it at first. It's not a calculated decision. He's not planning strategies or trying to impress anyone. His protection instinct activates automatically deep down without conscious thought. It's like an internal alarm system goes off the moment he senses you could be hurt or uncomfortable, and suddenly he's alert, attentive, and quietly vigilant. You may see it in the little things. He notices when someone speaks harshly to you. He makes sure you get home safely. He steps in during situations where he feels you might need support. These acts are instinctual, a reflection of his heart taking the lead before his mind has caught up. This protective instinct is a signal of how seriously his heart has committed, even if he cannot yet name it. A man who truly cares feels your vulnerability as if it were his own. He senses the weight of the world you carry and wants to shield you from it. He doesn't always vocalize it. He may not even tell you why he's doing certain things, but his actions reveal a deep, unspoken bond forming. He goes out of his way to make sure you are comfortable, safe, and supported because his heart has already chosen to prioritize you, even when his mind is still trying to understand why. Another fascinating aspect is how subtle this instinct can be. Sometimes it doesn't come in grand gestures. It comes in the quiet, almost invisible ways. He might remember your favorite drink and make sure it's waiting for you. He might check in when you're traveling, not because he's controlling, but because he genuinely worries. He might speak up when others dismiss your feelings or belittle your efforts. These small acts of protection show that his heart is already operating on a level of care that his words haven't caught up to yet. The protective instinct also reveals a vulnerability that most people never see. In trying to keep you safe, he exposes his own heart, because loving someone this deeply means there is something he could lose. The fear of losing you or seeing you hurt is not weakness, it's proof of emotional investment. His subconscious understanding of your value drives his actions before he even consciously processes them. This instinct becomes a language of love, a way for him to express feelings that he doesn't fully understand and might not be able to put into words yet. And here's the beauty of it, T. When a man's protection instinct is activated without awareness, it's pure, it's not motivated by pride, ego, or social expectation. It's motivated by genuine care, by the raw impulse of love itself. It shows a depth of feeling that is undeniable even before he can articulate it. His mind may still be searching for answers, but his heart has already made a promise, silent, instinctive, and unwavering. And in that, you can see the truth. When a man's protective instincts are activated without understanding, it's proof that he is already in love, whether he realizes it or not. When a man loves a woman without fully understanding his own feelings, fear shows up like an uninvited guest. And this isn't the fear of danger, failure, or loss in general. It's the kind of fear that comes from realizing his heart is exposed in ways he has never experienced before. Love, when it arrives unexpectedly, is risky. It's messy, it's unpredictable, and it has the power to change everything he thought he knew about himself and the world. For a man who is used to control, who has navigated life through logic and careful planning, the unpredictability of loving someone deeply can feel terrifying. He doesn't fully understand why he feels so strongly, yet the intensity of his emotions signals a risk he cannot ignore. This fear manifests in different ways. Sometimes he overthinks every interaction, replaying conversations in his mind, trying to decode every word and action. He worries that he might say the wrong thing or misstep in a way that could push her away. Other times, he hesitates to fully commit or open up, not because he doesn't want to, but because his heart has already leapt and his mind is still catching up. He's walking a tightrope between wanting to give everything he feels and protecting himself from the vulnerability that comes with it. Every pang of fear is a reflection of how seriously he is taking his emotions, and that seriousness is proof that his love is real. Fear also comes from the uncertainty of reciprocation. Loving someone without understanding it fully makes him hyper aware of the possibility that she may not feel the same way or that circumstances could keep them apart. He senses the stakes before he understands the depth of his feelings, and that awareness can create anxiety. But here's the key: fear in this context doesn't stop him from caring. It doesn't diminish the love he feels. It simply underscores how significant the feelings are. The greater the love, the greater the perceived risk, and that risk awakens fear. Interestingly, this fear is also a form of honesty. It strips him of pretense and forces him to confront the raw truth of his emotions. He cannot hide behind bravado or distraction because deep down he knows how much he cares. And though fear can feel paralyzing, it is also a compass. It signals that his heart has entered uncharted territory, that he is investing in something more important than comfort, convenience, or routine. Ultimately, this fear is a silent testament to the power of his love. It shows that his heart has committed before his mind has fully understood, that his vulnerability has been claimed by something bigger than him, and in that fear, there is growth, there is depth, and there is proof that love has arrived, not neatly, not conveniently, but honestly, fully, and undeniably. When a man loves a woman without fully understanding himself, the most powerful thing you'll notice is that his heart has already made a decision long before his mind catches up. This is one of the most fascinating and at the same time confusing aspects of love. Men are taught to analyze, to plan, to think before they act. Yet, when love arrives uninvited, it bypasses all of that. His heart commits first, quietly and fiercely, while his mind scrambles to make sense of what is happening. He doesn't always understand why he feels the way he does. He doesn't have the words to explain the depth of his feelings. He might even question himself, wondering if he's overreacting, imagining things, or being irrational, and yet his heart is already in the game, making moves that his mind hasn't even approved. You'll see this in his behavior. He starts putting effort into things that didn't matter to him before. He remembers the little details, the ones most people overlook, the way she laughs, what she likes, what stresses her out, what makes her feel special. He invests his time, energy, and emotions into her without calculating the cost. He sacrifices comfort without thinking, rearranging priorities not because someone told him to, but because his heart has already chosen. He may not understand why he feels this need to be present, to protect, to nurture, and to support, but his actions make it clear love is directing him even before his brain fully acknowledges it. This commitment is often accompanied by internal conflict. He may wrestle with questions, doubts, and fear. Am I moving too fast? What if she doesn't feel the same? What if I get hurt? These thoughts rage through his mind, yet they are powerless to stop what his heart has already done. That's the paradox of love. The heart is fearless in its devotion, while the mind hesitates, analyzes, and worries. He may struggle to articulate his feelings, to explain why he cares so deeply, but there is no hiding from his own actions. They tell the story better than words ever could. Another sign of this preemptive commitment is how he prioritizes your happiness without understanding the reason for it. Seeing you smile, hearing your voice, feeling your warmth, these things become vital to him before he can even rationalize why. He experiences joy and peace when you are well, and discomfort or unease when you are not. He begins to weave you into his life in ways he never expected, integrating your presence into his routine, his thoughts, and his dreams. And while he might still be trying to make sense of it all, his heart doesn't wait. It has already claimed you as someone essential, someone worth caring for, someone worth fighting for, even if he doesn't yet understand the magnitude of what he feels. The beauty of this phenomenon is that it is genuine. When a man's heart commits before his mind, it's pure, uncalculated, and sincere. There is no strategy, no manipulation, no pretense. It is a love that acts, protects, sacrifices, and cares all before the brain gives it permission. And when his mind finally catches up, when he starts to process and understand the depth of his feelings, the love doesn't change, it strengthens. What was once a quiet, instinctive devotion becomes an intentional, conscious commitment. He sees the truth of his actions, the consistency of his care, and the clarity of his priorities, and he realizes that his heart was right all along. This is why a man who loves without understanding himself is such a remarkable presence in a woman's life. His heart leads with courage, sincerity, and authenticity. He doesn't wait for perfection, explanation, or certainty. He simply feels, he simply acts, and he simply commits. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the kind of love that changes lives, the kind of love that doesn't need a reason, and the kind of love that endures long after words fail.